Hello, and happiest of days to all of you folks. So today, I'm doing my review for In the Forgotten Realms, and that sort of a thing. I've been going back and knocking out some novels recently, and I figured I'd knock out a couple more. So for example, in the Forgotten Realms series, when it first started in collection, it started with Douglas Wallace's Dark Walker on Moonshade, and the Moonshade series. Loved it lots, but I haven't gone back like and reread it. And then R.A. Salvatore's The Crystal Shard was next with the Dark Elf stuff, heavily influential, made bestseller list. That I read a lot. He actually became my favorite author after J.R. Tolkien. Loved him lots, followed him to a bunch of different series. And in fact, when I moved houses, that entire box of Salvatore stuff. That sort of thing. That series I do sometimes go back to, and actually went back and read that like about 2 years ago. The first 10 books that sort of conclude the series. Then the next ones were published were Spellfire by Ed Greenwood, who created, and Pool of Radiance, and that sort of thing. Now, Spellfire by Ed Greenwood, he actually created the Forgotten Realms and that sort of thing. And as a campaign prior to Dungeons & Dragons, wrote for his first players, and then when Dungeons & Dragons was released, he adapted it. He wrote regularly, like Dragon magazines and such, was very popular. And so he sold it just a couple of $1,000, a pretty nominal fee. For the rights of the world, with the understanding he would write these novels. And in his first novel, Spellfire, they told him to show us the realms, and he did. He wrote a great book, but he did actually it was hacked to pieces. Like only 2/3 of it actually really made it to publish. So I've actually go back and read the expanded edition for this channel and stuff. But he is actually somebody that I would go back to, and then the Pool of Radiance trilogy. It's based on the Pool of Radiance video game. This is something I go back to, and then I said nothing else. And so I figured, since I just finished it out, let's knock out some other stuff that I don't normally go back to. And I just read Scott Ciencin's. It's actually credited as Richard Ackles, but it's actually Scott Ciencins book, Shadowdale. And I finished it yesterday. It's about 335 pages long, and so it took me about 11 hours for me to knock it out. About 30 minutes an hour, roughly. So I've knocked me out about 4 days. That sort of thing. It's good stuff. Love it lots. I'm back into checking it out. That sort of thing. No, I wouldn't say that it moved me in any great major ways, right, and such. But I think it was nice to go back and check this out. So I'll link it in the comments below. It's published by TSR2. And there you are. So let's get started with this thing. No spoiler free review, so I'm only going to give you this out. But basically what's happening in the prelude in the first couple of chapters is that we find out that the gods have been summoned to a meeting by their overlord, Ao, who a lot of humans don't even know exists. And then he actually runs them, has given them a lot of rules and stuff. And he actually created something called the Tablets of Fate that have each of their jobs and that sort of thing. And then after that, he will list them. Right? That's what I'm saying. So there you are. So they haven't been. So those were actually stolen. He doesn't tell them that. Helm actually tells them, which is one of the gods who he was not going to kick out because they stole him from Helm. But he kicks them out of the realms as a punishment until they get found and be brought back to him, and that sort of thing. So now these people have to go out, and now they've lost all the powers and such. And that means that magic in the Helm realms has just gone crazy, as the gods have been kicked out of the heavens, and the planes are now walking as the avatars. And that sort of thing, and such. And so you will see Bane as the primary antagonist. He'll show up in Zindel Keep in the first chapter. He'll actually have to inhabit a character, a human, and he now has a lot of human-y things happening to him. We'll also see Maestra appear too in the realms too. She's actually one of our primary and protagonists. All right. Then what's going to happen? Also, Magico's chaos. For example, Magico clerics won't work on soldiers like within a mile or so, and that sort of thing. So we'll actually run into them pretty, and then Magico starts to go crazy, and the world starts to really go crazy too. Cats and dogs will like ring from the sky, stuff like that. Weird stuff is going to happen. All right, and then so that'll be the entrance of that. All right, and that's season 1, and then our 4 characters that we're going to meet are on the cover here. Midnight, the mage, who has gotten a blessing from my previous party, and then the 3 members of the Cumivore, and Adon, and Sarek, and that sort of thing. And they are a thief, with a cleric of Sunni, and a warrior. And there we go. And then we'll find out. So they are in a city where Timora has chosen to have her avatar. And that's sort of a thing. And so they will head up there. That'll be sort of our starting party and that sort of thing. And so Midnight will get a gift from my star. She actually will bestow before she comes to the realms because she thinks that this might be happening. And then she gets it back. So she gets empowered. That sort of thing. And then we'll find out some other stuff too. And then, all that good stuff will happen, and that sort of thing. Now, Califor doesn't want Midnight to join the party because he thinks it's man's job and man's work, and it's not a place for a woman. He's the leader of the party, and it seems like he isn't exactly the best person in the world for all those reasons. So I wouldn't say that he's my favorite character, and certainly Sour, because he's just a little bit of a whiny person too. And Midnight is, I guess, my favorite of the four. Now, I'm sure that was at the time very cutting edge to have avant-garde characters more representative of us. But I guess I'm more of a heroic guy, right? I guess I don't like these ruined guys. I certainly like Sour. I don't like Elambor. I don't like Aiden. I don't like the prideful character of the goddess of beauty. But Midnight, on the other hand, I do appreciate. Just trying to make it work. So she probably would be one of my favorite characters from this. Just heads up. Alrighty, but there you go. So, and there you are. There are the party of four and the basic premise for this. Now, I'm not sure if I should be giving it a 6.5 or a 7. Right? So it's nice to go back and reread it, but I wouldn't say it's like the best thing I've ever read either. But this was sort of setting up what they would call the Avatar series with a lot of major changes and that sort of thing to the realms they want to set up. So I do like that sort of thing, and I love the epic ending. It was so strong. So it's about between a 6.5 and a 7, but I can't give it a 6.75. So it's rounded up to a 7 for you folks. But it's fine. I wouldn't say it's the best thing in the world. I wouldn't go to the mattresses for it like the other three things I do go back to and reread pretty regularly in their own stuff and that sort of thing. But it's fine. It's not the worst thing either. You waste your time with it there. That's Shadowdale, the first book in the Avatar Trilogy, and that sort of thing by Scott Ciencin. Alrighty, but there you go. Alright, so what have you read it? And so let me know what your thoughts are. Please keep it spoiler free like I did too. But I do think the ending sort of saves it. But there you are. But what do you think? Although I think that what happens in the trick ending, and it's a surprise I don't like, a character turn from a character that was introduced as a Spellfire. But, I'll leave it to you guys to talk about. So that's probably one of the reasons why it's not getting a strong ending. But there you are for you folks. And then I hope, as a reminder, I have not been trained as a critic of literature. I didn't take an English major or literary criticism or anything like that in college. Right, so your mileage and your opinions are going to be just as valid as mine. I'm just some guy on YouTube who happens to have a passion for this stuff and puts the videos into it. That's it. That's the only difference between you and me, right? So let's talk about your opinions. You're going to be just as valid as mine is, right? We're all fans. Doing this the same thing. Alrighty. So there you are. And so let me know what your thoughts are too. As tomorrow, I do reviews on Wednesdays. I do reviews of all video games. I've recently done things like the Pool of Radiance series, video games, I'm doing Baldur's Gate stuff, that sort of thing. On Friday, I do top 10s. I've recently done top 10s on Star Wars films, my top 10 Godzilla films, top 10 comics, top 10 miniseries, and comic writers too. That sort of thing. Also on Saturday, there's something I call Serial Saturday, which I dedicate to the forgotten sort of storytelling genres of movies and TV serials from that era, like Flash Gordon or things like did a couple Tarzan ones recently. The first 2 seasons of Doctor Who on TV stuff from the 60s. All right, so check that out. And then on Monday, which you probably will care about if you're watching this, I do reviews of older things in RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons and things like BattleTech War Games 2 and such like that. And so currently I'm doing reviews of series and modules in that thing in Dungeons & Dragons. So that's probably something you're caring about. If you're going to check this out, you probably will care about that stuff too. And then the other 3 reviews a week, I do reviews of older things and reviews that things that you read in the 3 genres that we cover. All older stuff like this book, right? All things like science fiction, fantasy, and horror that we cover. All right. So there you are. So if those 7 things sound like things, these older things, sound like your cup of tea, welcome to the channel and have a seat. Take off your shoes. I think you'll enjoy your time here. Please do all the YouTube stuff like the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you want to be feel frisky about notified about 7 videos a week. And then also things like share, but basically share and watch. Alrighty, so there you are. And then, as you can tell from the title, this is the title's channel. It's all, and the concepts too. This is all about the best. It's a quote by French philosopher Jacques Schubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? Passion of the finding older things out there. Not that the new things are bad; they're not. But just in our passion, right, for the new novel, the new video game, the new movie, right? We have forgotten how great these older things are and how they stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So if you just check out those giants, right? Also, my number 1 strength in is context on a positivity psychology approach to strength to your personality types and that sort of thing. And so I appreciate something more the more I learn about it, right? So, for example, in the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Edgar Guy says an Appendix N where he lists all of the various references that he used and resources that he used to make his game. I love that a lot. And so I appreciate it more by going back and reading some of those things I've actually done for this channel, right? And so that sounds like you. Welcome to the channel. Alrighty, so there you are. I just want to thank you so very, very much, for just taking some time out of your day and investing it, right? And watching my videos, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. And so I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.